Good evening, I'm Brad Stevens.
And I'm Ellen McNamara.
Our top story, parts of the metro are still working to recover from Saturday night's storm. Residents are clearing limbs and anxiously waiting for power crews to get the lights and the AC back on.
And here are the latest numbers right now from KCP&L. At least 9,600 people are without power, down from nearly 140,000 at the peak. BPU in KCK still has 3,600 people without power. They'll have crews working throughout the night. And Independence Power and Light has over 800 homes and businesses without power. KCP&L says it's doing everything possible to restore service as quickly as it can.
KCTV5's Betsy Webster is live now to explain how they're prioritizing and what's taking so long. Betsy?
Well, Brad, I'm here in Roland Park, and if you look behind me, take a look at that giant power line, how it's just sagging down to the ground. Well, in some cases, it was limbs that had fallen on those power lines that made them come down. But one of the managers at the utility says those 70-mile-an-hour winds actually knocked down some of the massive power poles themselves.
And I had to throw out peas and this.
Carol Ann Stoner tossed at least $100 worth of groceries after a day and a half without power in her Roland Park home. At 2 p.m., the air kicked on, finally.
Oh, it was such a thrill.
She says she'd been stumbling in the dark and sweating in the heat, but didn't want to abandon her kitties to stay the night elsewhere.
They get upset when I leave the house. They're just like little babies.
While field crews from various local and out-of-state utilities helped KCP&L workers to restore power, the utility's office staff tried to help by handing out dry ice. KCP&L's operations director points out the storm came in quickly and was far more intense than expected. He says crews began with repairs connected to large swaths of people, then whittled down. But the remaining repairs, he says, will be slower going.
We get into the backyards and we're moving around fences and backyards and moving poles in by hand, and the work just becomes very, very manual. Carol
Ann Stoner is just happy to be able to get a good, cool night's sleep. With her kitties, of course, and that piece of modern technology we so often take for granted.
And it is just amazing how spoiled we all are with this wonderful electrical system that we use.
Back out here in Roland Park, this block of the street is actually closed to traffic. There are signs on both sides, but as you can see, people do keep trying to come through. They make it part way, they back up. That's what we're dealing with right now. Now, you mentioned the numbers of people who still do not have power, down less than 10,000. That is significant progress. That is 93% of those who had power out have been restored, and that is ahead of schedule from what KCP&L had hoped to have done by midnight tonight. They hope to have just about everything done by tomorrow. Just a handful of people in some of those really tough spots that they may not be able to get back on until Wednesday, they say. Live in Roland Park, Kansas, Betsy Webster, KCTV5 News.
Thanks, Betsy. And across the metro, cities are offering drop-off sites for waste and debris and brush from those storms. Overland Park's location is at Young's Pool on 77th Street. It's open through 8 p.m. and they will be accepting items until Sunday the 30th. In Independence, their drop-off site is at 875 Vista Avenue. Their hours are from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day until August 6th. You do need to show, though, that you are a resident of Independence.